Actors Equity Association is the stage union. There are other unions based on where the performance takes place. Radio City Music Hall is a different union jurisdiction than Equity. There's a variety artists union, so it's kind of whatever your performance is. There's a union for it. There's a professional organization for it at all levels. To get into Equity, as a non-union actor, there's a program called the EMC Program, which is basically like credits. The number of weeks you work at a union theater that has the program in place, you accumulate points, and then when you get to a certain number of points, you can then join the union. You can be a non-union actor, and if you send your picture in or you have an agent that submits you, and it's a union contracted role, and you are the right talent for it, you're offered your access to the union that way. So then you would join, you start to pay your membership, and then you get to kind of segue in similar to a Taft-Hartley situation. A long time ago, you used to go out on the road and get your equity eligibility, which would allow you to go to equity auditions even though you weren't a member of the union, and then that way you, again, had access to the union contracts. There's a lot of non-union in town, not at the Broadway level, but at the other levels there are non-union talent. Tours go out completely non-union. Some theaters will cast a balance between whatever the union and the theater's agreement is for the number of union contracts, and then the balance of the season will be filled out by non-union talent, which gives you an opportunity to work at a place, start to meet the creative people so that when you step in front of them and you are a union member, there's a little bit of a history so that it warrants you getting paid. It's expensive to hire a union actor. It costs more. There's pension and health, there's pay rates that are established, there's housing situations that are established by the union. And, if you're one of many unknown people, well, who would you pick? You pick people people you have history with, people are going to do the job. So I just think it helps to stay non-union for as long as you can. Garner as much experience as possible, network yourself really well so that when you are ready to join the union, when you're ready to join the union, you're able to, what am I trying to say? What I'm trying to say is staying non-union as long as possible gives you an opportunity to meet people when it's less expensive to hire you, and therefore when you become a union member, it makes more sense. Yeah, there's been some fun times. Segueing over the whole time when I was a casting assistant working for different people, I was casting a film with another casting director, and we had to find one of the roles was for kind of like a gentleman's club cocktail waitress dancer kind of performer. And we didn't know the director really well, so this casting director brought in a group of actors who could play the role, and then brought in some women who kind of functioned in that capacity, in real life to bring in an authentic element to it. We'd been doing it for like 3 days, and I actually had turned to face the director, and the actress was behind me, and I heard her say, "Are you ready?" And we said, "Yeah." And as I turned around, I heard this series of snaps. And she ripped off this like outer, almost like house coat thing, and had on like a Fredericks of Hollywood body stocking with very little undergarment on underneath it. And that's how she prepared herself for the audition. She jumped into my arms while she was reading the sides. She kept trying to like put her fingers in my. It was really bizarre. She really kind of crossed any kind of line that existed was completely gone. Actually ended up pinning her up against a wall. And holding her hands above her head to make her stop like grabbing at me to finish the scene. So that was one. I had an actor knock me over the table. I was reading with them, and it was a police interrogation scene, and the actor got a little too aggressive and kind of stiff-armed me and sent me flying over the chair that I was sitting at. I've had actors melt down in the middle of their audition. That's unfortunate. And it's a little. You don't know an actor. You might know a person every now and then, but I'm always amazed when actors come in and do things that kind of pushed the envelope in terms of a choice. Like, you would never pull out, if the scene called for it, you would never pull out a firearm or a knife, and start waving it around at the casting director or the director, and yet people have. It's kind of the fastest way to end an audition, when you pull out, weaponry and point them at us. We did a commercial once where the mandate was to actually find not the best actors. It was going to be for this video game, and they wanted like real extreme character types. So they asked us to bring in like kind of a lower tier of actor, and it was a hard casting because these actors didn't know they were being asked to be brought in because they weren't good. They were doing the best they could, but their training didn't warrant some of their choices, and so they just did a lot of like really over the top crazy things that would never work in a normal audition, and that actually is what got some of these people booked, is that they were acting so, not typically. What else? It's great when you get to audition people that you have watched their careers, and you watch someone on television and suddenly they're auditioning for you for a project, and just to be that close to somebody who you admire and who you respect is always really great. We've met some interesting people on that regard. Getting to act with them sometimes as the reader, and you get to actually create a moment with somebody like that. That makes for a really great day, and that's been some fun in the past. I worked on a film once where the executive producer was a very tough, not a lot of words spoken kind of person, never took their sunglasses off in the audition room, and while the auditions were going on, a phone call came in, and it was from a very high-profile celebrity in Los Angeles who demanded to speak to the producer right then. I happened to not be in the audition room, and I literally was holding a phone during an audition, opening the door, trying to get into this producer while two actors were acting, while the person I was working for was staring at me like they were going to kill me because I interrupted an audition. I gave the woman the phone, and she just held it in her lap and didn't talk to them until the audition was over. So, it was a rough moment. I can't think of any others off the top of my head. Like I said before, when an actor comes in and they just are dazzling, it still takes my breath away, and I often feel just very humbled by how willing an actor is to expose themselves that much, and that's why myself, my partner Gail, our office, we believe wholeheartedly in the sacredness of the audition environment. When the reality TV show stuff started, I hated it because I felt that they went into a place where you weren't supposed to bring cameras. Well, now clearly that mandate has, passed, and if you're getting paid for it, I guess you can allow people to watch you do stuff. But in our auditions, we believe very strongly in keeping that safe and secure, and what happens in the room stays in the room.